There we go. Just do a random video. First thing so I don't forget, my 5-year-old tonight said something about so we go for walks almost every night. And a few nights ago, I pointed out how tiny the moon was, because it was just a little sliver. And then tonight I said something to her about the moon, and she said something about maybe the moon was a baby before and now it's a mommy. I don't know. She's smarter than me, so maybe there's something to that in some kind of little kid way, you know. Be looking for some videos. I'm gonna do some videos on how people drive in their car or in their vehicle. Something's got to happen, because it's like far too many aren't doing the right thing out there. You guys just aren't doing the right thing. So something has to happen. It's amazing. I get these strange headaches where it's like right here. It almost feels like it's on my skin, but it's not. It's like a pulsating thing. It happens for like a week, and then it doesn't happen anymore. For a long time, maybe. Sometimes it's maybe half a year, sometimes it's a couple of years, sometimes it's whatever. So I'm looking in the YouGenics book. Maybe there's some information. I just started reading at a spot before I went to maybe where there's nothing about headaches. So there's a part in here that talks about abortion. This book is from the 1800s. So I'm starting to see where eugenics could take a turn for the worse. But there's definitely still some truth in this book because it's so damn old. Kind of like in 2009 when you Googled stuff, your search results weren't not even close to as censored as they are now. If you just do your own comparison, type in the exact same search in a Bing search engine, a DuckDuckGo, a Google, Yahoo, whatever, there's a Yandex. You'll see the difference for yourself. Like LifeLock, at first I'm sure they really were keeping people's stuff safe, and then they just don't give a shit anymore. I'm sure at first, somebody starts a restaurant they mean to serve you the cleanest, best food they can possibly get, but then they can't make a damn dime doing that, so they wind up doing what they do. So I think along those lines, there is still some truth to be found in here. Abortion is the expulsion of the product of conception at any period of gestation before the fetus becomes viable. Miscarriage, the act of bringing forth before the natural time, premature birth. Criminal abortion, the act of causing abortion or miscarriage in a pregnant woman, unless when necessary to preserve the life of the mother. A punishable crime. Criminal abortion is a crime, punishable by severe penalties in most states and Christian nations. It is extremely dangerous and exposes the woman to lifelong injury or to death. The husband, the instigator. It is useless to deny or to conceal the fact that in many instances the husband's dislike of a large family, combined with his unwillingness to practice self-denial in regard to his appetites, is the motive which, beyond all others, induces the wife to visit the fashionable aborter and to destroy the fruit of her womb and imperil her own life and health. This cowardice and brutality on his part cannot anywhere find an excuse. For the woman, enfeebled perhaps by too excessive childbearing, for which her husband is generally wholly responsible, for few of our wives do not become sooner or later virtually apathetic. For the woman, timid, easily alarmed, prone to mental depression or other disturbance, and dreading the yet safe and preferable labor that awaits her, there is a certain measure of excuse. For her husband, none. This flagrant abuse is not confined to immoral circles of society, nor to the corrupt atmosphere of our great commercial centers, but extends into remote country hamlets and through all grades of social life. We call upon our readers, by example and precept, to do their utmost to stem its devastating tide, and at least in their own families and among their friends, to meet its due reprobation. Its worst effects are not seen in marriage. Though no physician is ignorant on how many women in the community suffer from the vile French pills and female regulators hawked about, as well as from rude instruments in awkward and unfeeling hands. But it is in impunity which the vicious believe they enjoy the temptation to indulge in lustful and illegitimate liaisons, the weakening of virtue, that its most serious consequences are manifest. That's their depiction in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. This is what they were able to convey. It says ovum of 6 months age. I've heard people who really don't know exactly what it is they're saying. They've never had any kids of their own. At the time they said it, nor do they have any now. But I've heard people liken the horrible things maybe you've learned about eugenics, the stuff like making sure the inner city kids can't have kids of their own, right? The dumb people just think that's black and brown kids. I'm an inner city kid. That's where I grew up. I've heard people liken to me. Didn't know I was an inner city kid, but I've heard them liken to me. People like me being like weeds, where you can't let them weeds grow because they might take some sun from your tomato plant. This weed could fuck you up.